Let's welcome on board Dhananjay Sinha, the co-head of equities at Sytematix Group. And Mr. Sinha, good morning and thanks so much for joining us. I just want to get a basic sense of why this reaction on the pharma market, because yesterday also when Trump said that pharma is exempt from tariffs, it was made pretty clear that this is only for the time being. So the street knew that something like this could, something along the notes of tariff could come for the pharma group as well. So just a two-part question. A, why such a massive reaction on pharma? And B, how bad do you think, because Trump has said that pharma tariffs could be something never seen before. How bad could it be? Could you just put that into perspective for us?
So I think the way markets are reacting, I think it's a part of the general market reaction as well. So we have seen that yesterday our markets were very resilient, and we saw overnight there has been a significant meltdown in the U.S. markets, and we are seeing that reverberating across the world. So I think there is a general response that we are seeing, though belatedly, in the Indian market. I think the pharma sector is also participating in that. I would say that the general view is that this has been exempted. This sector has been exempted because it's somewhat complicated because there are generic drugs, there are other drugs, so more complex drugs where you have to do more granular investigation in terms of the components, etc., where it is sourced, etc. So there is a huge amount of study that needs to go through, that needs to be undertaken before they decide on the tariff that they would want to impose. I think this is an essential item as well. So they would be sensitive to the fact that that can disrupt things that are relevant for their healthcare industry, healthcare of the U.S. Consumer. So I think they would want to be circumspect here. I would say that what we are what can be possible is that what is easier is that if they do impose tariffs on generic drugs that are available across the world. I think that is a easier way to look at it. So I mean, maybe the market is actually extrapolating that possibility that there might be a faster imposition on the generic drug, but we don't know exactly what they are trying to do. But I think if you look at the complexity of the process, I think it's going to be a far longer study and investigation before they can impose a fairly decisive position on the tariff front. So I think there is a certain amount of extrapolation of what is happening generally in the market, and market might also be expecting some action on the generic side. So I think our view is that it'll be easier for the US to rather than impose uniform tariffs out here. They would want to. It would be better if they sort of diversify their sources from
Right.
other non-competing countries. So I think that's a better way to really look at it.
Right. Good morning, Mr. Sinha. This is Cheryl also joining in the conversation. Given the fact that it is Donald Trump, I don't think that you can predict what he's going to do next. Given the fact that yes, yesterday the markets were celebrating the fact that you had a relief coming in for the pharma sector. In fact, you have various notes also been written on the fact that now there is a relief for the sector, what we can expect going ahead. But now this statement coming in, that he could be looking, or they could be looking for the pharma sector a tariff. And like you said, maybe because the complexity of the sector is the reason why that they may have delayed this sort of a decision, or they may be thinking about which segment of the pharma industry would they go ahead and put this sort of a tariff. But we have our large Indian companies, like you have Cipla, Lupin, Orb in the pharma. They already have manufacturing facilities in US as well, right? So which means that
Yes.
they would be safer bets to look at
Yes.
when you're looking at the sector.
Yes. Of course.
Yeah,
Yeah,
given.
we think so. We also think so. I think, I mean, we've had a reaction at this juncture, but I would say that the process is going to be longer. So that is one beneficial situation. It is possible that eventually, when they investigate, they will find that it is unviable to really impose steep tariffs out there, and also the fact that many of these companies have their manufacturing facilities out there. They can actually speeden up their their manufacturing capacities out there. They can expand and all. I think those possibilities are definitely there. We'll have to see. I think they have a concern on the input side. Where how much is how much of the inputs are sourced from China. I think these are the things that are also being thought about. But I think at the end of it, it is all about the lives of people in the US, and they would not want to sort of curtail supplies. I think they will need to sort of diversify their sourcing, etc. So I don't think it is a very easy sector to really impose tariffs. So I think the stridency out here can be mellowed over time. So I would say that we'll see. As you rightly said, with Donald Trump, we don't know how much disruption he can do with tariffs and stuff. But I would say, if one thinks logically, I think two things which I mentioned. One is the complexity of the things, and the fact that the companies have local facilities in the US. I think stand out as a good buffer for the sector.
But Mr. Sinha, just to counter that, what about companies that are more domestic based and have heavy exports to the US? When the tariffs are imposed, if and when that happens, what would they do when it comes to their costs? Because there would be a hike in production costs as well. Do you think that would be absorbed, or do you think that will be passed on to the customers and we could see a quite sharp price hike for our domestic pharma companies as well?
So I think it is a function of whether you have a substitute or not. I think it will be case to case basis. And if you do not have a substitute or a competing company from global production, if you do not have that, I think it will be passed on. But if it is a competitive segment, there can be a sort of an impact on margins because of the higher tariffs, if at all that happens. Right now, it is still in the realms of hypothesis. Whenever it happens, that those risks will pan out. Yeah.
All right, then we leave it there. Mr. Sinha, thank you so much for joining us in ET Now to just try and analyze and gauge what exactly is happening in the pharma sector. How should one actually look at the recent developments coming in the space, given the fact that day in and day out, you're going to get new commentary and you will see these exaggerated moves when you talk about the sector right now. Pharma index on an intraday basis seeing the biggest intraday fall in about 5 years.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.